I'm your favorite funny girl, Amanda Seales, and you're watching MadameNoire.com. So It's Complicated, the show, is an interactive comedy show about relationships. I'm a comedian, and I'm also a woman in New York who just is like, this stuff is crazy.
Ouch. If you have done online dating, you probably learned this the hard way. Anyone in here done online dating? Yes. Anyone here successfully done online dating? Success means they're here with you now. No.
But then you see that the world over, a lot of women are looking for love, are in love, or they're getting over love. And so it's a show that is relative to a lot of different people. And I also believe that when you create something, it needs to serve you, but also serve the community. And this is a real thing that people want. You know, people want companionship and they want to feel like they're a part of something with somebody. So It's Complicated as a way of doing that, but laughing while we do it. So at the end of the show, we have this moment called Testify, and it's where everybody shares, you know, one of their red flags that they have seen. Now, I started up with, I should have broken up with you when. And people will put their hands up and they'll take the mic. I should have broken up with you when. I should have broken up with you when. And we do this because, listen, they may be talking about a red flag that you haven't seen, you know, and now you can clock that. So the next time you see it, you're like, ooh, okay, I don't got to be a part of that. My favorite was when a chick said, I should have broken up with you when your mama told me I deserve better. That right there was like, like the whole audience collectively was like, damn, you should have. You know, I think it depends on the person. For me, it doesn't feel like it should be that complicated, you know, but I'm also a very forthright, forthcoming person. Like, I just put it out there. But I feel like there's so many games that get played and so much unfinished business with people and baggage, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have just like the confusion right now with gender roles, and some guys just feel like women should do this and men should do that and vice versa, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that society complicates things. I think that this digital world complicates things, but I think that decency is basic. Like, I feel like it's a really basic standard of how to be like a decent person to someone you give a damn about. And a lot of people don't get to the bare bones of that. They're just like in this world of like trying to do the most. And you really, at the end of the day, should just keep it simple. I feel like location definitely complicates things. Like New York, one, is just an energy that's always like, And so like you're just naturally anxious. You know, two, I think that for New York women, there's so many of us. I mean, the options for guys are just endless, especially when it's like a lot of New York women are career driven and independent, et cetera. So there's not a lot of that codependency that goes on. And there's also not a lot of like, oh, you know, we have to do this every night. You know, they just have a lot more freedom and there's just a lot more room for a lot more options, which also creates a lot more problems. Especially now, like as women have like gotten more to the forefront in terms of our identity, in terms of our independence, et cetera. Like, I think a lot of women are sometimes askew on like how to be direct and be independent and be about it, but also like not be overpowering or not be too aggressive or too assertive to where you're like pushing, you know, what you want away. And that's a hard balance that I think all of us are trying to figure out. You know, we have a segment in the show, It's Complicated, it's called Smart Woman, Dumb Girl, where we actually present different scenarios like that. And then we have women come on stage and ask them, okay, is that a smart woman who dealt with that situation or a dumb girl? And you know, you have people in the audience who are like, smart woman, dumb girl, you know, because we encourage the Price is Rightness of it all. But there really is no right answer per se. But I do feel like when we try to know too much, one, and then we ask questions we don't want to know the answer to, and also when we just don't trust ourselves, we also complicate things. There's a difference between idealism, expectations, and self-worth. And I think that you have to be very clear on how you delineate between them. Because, guys will be like, you should just go out with no expectations. And that's also some BS, all right? Because I expect you to treat me a certain way, and I expect that if you are worth my time, that you're gonna behave a certain way. So if I don't have any expectations, then it's kind of like, why'd I leave the house? Because I'm just basically saying that whatever happens is all right. And that's just not what's the standard. But idealism, when you say like, I should be at this and this and this and this, I mean, that's just not realistic. It's just not life. That's what my show As Complicated is about. None of us are experts. No one, because everyone's in their own separate situation. But what we are is experienced, right? And so like when you share community experiences, you help yourself get more knowledge in how you want to deal with things and a better way to deal with things. Because there are better ways to deal with things. And a lot of times when you share information, you find the better way. I was on Tinder for 4 hours and then a dude hit me and was like, so is it true? And I was like, what? And he's like, are you the Amanda Diva I grew up on? And then I wasn't on Tinder anymore. So that was the end of that. I think women live on these things, one, because of hope. Because on Instagram, you see people just living the life they hope to live a lot of times. But two, there is true information in these places. And I think that it's a very hard balance to figure out like how much is too much in terms of how involved you are in these spaces. I'm not gonna lie. Like I do use social media to get a preliminary view on somebody's character that I'm seeing. And I think it's important that we have these like factions that you can really save yourself some time. Like if I go on someone's Facebook and they have all sorts of like ridiculousness, I can basically tell like, I don't need to be bothered with this. If I go on your Instagram and you are a man and you have more than 2 selfies on that front page, we're gonna need to talk about this. What is this about? Are you a rapper? Are you trying to be a rapper? Because I need to not be bothered with you. I mean, the basic fact is that social media is digital, love is analog. Analog means it's person to person. It's actual real time happening. Digital means there's a computer factor in between that. So the reality is that this digital world that we live in is a lot of times an impediment of the analog world we're trying to be in love in. You got to get around it. That's why I say, don't stay on text with people. You have to get on the phone. If you don't want to go on the phone, then you need to make a plan to see me in person. I'm trying to text you all day. Then you want to walk away from the text. You know what I mean? Because you be having, listen, can you imagine if people walked away from a regular conversation the way that they do text message conversations? You will be in conversation with somebody and then they will just walk away from the convo. And you sitting there with the phone. And then now you like looking at, you're scrolling back like, did I say something? Then you're looking at the timestamp. Well, it's been 6 minutes. If we were in a real conversation and it took you 6 minutes to respond, I would ask if you were having a seizure.